Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast, episode number 88. Spencer Dunn and his big Missourian monster whitetail. Big Buck Registry is a virtual museum of hunting stories. We preserve a piece of Americana by interviewing and recording hunters about their hunts and experiences from across the country. And who knows, maybe we'll learn a thing or two along the way that'll help us take our hunt to the next level.
Hey, this is Jeremy Moore with DogboneHunter.com. Get ready for another amazing show on the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast.
This is Crystal Buskirk from Anti-Hunter to Hardcore Hunter. That's who I am. And you're listening to my favorite hunting podcast on the internet, the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast.
Hey, this is Matt Duff.
And Jeff Danker.
We're Major League Bow Hunter, and you're listening to the best podcast on the internet, the Big Buck Registry.
Hey, everybody, it's your co-host, Dusty Phillips. Welcome to another show of the Big Buck Registry Deer Hunting Podcast. I'm joined here today with the host, Jay Scott. Jay, how are you?
I'm doing good, my friend. Doing very good. I can't help but think about deer hunting every day.
Oh man, it's something that it's like, you know, you get a couple months away from the season and it just hits you. It's like, man, maybe I should have went an extra day or two there that I had to miss. Maybe I should have. You know, you get all this different things in your head that you should have done, but in reality, you did the best you could and you hunted hard and you grounded it out. You grinded it out to the end and made the best of the season, and that's all you can do.
I think it's funny that you say that because I know darn well that you did everything you possibly could have to hunt every day you had available.
Oh, man, I hunted hard this past season.
Yes. Well, you do every year, right? I mean, I've only known you for, two and a half years or so?
Right, and I do. I do. But it seems like this year I had a buck that I really focused on, you know, and it's a great buck, and I let some really nice bucks walk to let them hopefully become the caliber of a couple particular bucks that I'm hunting. You know, it's not about shooting a monster. It's really not. You know, I won't be the first to tell you I went all season and didn't shoot a buck, and that's okay. That's why they call it hunting, not killing. But you know, it's one of the things where I'm to the point now where I've got enough deer on the wall and enough experience and enough knowledge and education about the whitetails that it's time to see if I can really utilize all this knowledge, information, and education that I've picked up over the years and put it to work in the woods. Now, with that being said, I've elected myself to shoot a great deer. And pass on all the small ones. And I don't do that because I'm just trophy hunting or just trying to shoot a monster buck. And that's not the reason why I'm doing this. The reason is I want to let these deer live their life, become mature bucks, and then harvest them.
Right.
You know, it's one of them things where, yeah, great. You know, I shot a nice big mature doe, a lot of meat. You know, she was pushing 200. A lot of meat from her, and you know, it's one of them years where we hadn't really been hitting the deer meat real hard, so I didn't need the extra meat. Therefore, I just elected to try to shoot a mature buck, and you know, I went all season, didn't shoot a buck. But man, I tell you what, I learned a ton. I educated myself a little further on the whitetail habitat. I think next year that you know, I'm going to go back in the same areas, and hopefully some of these bucks that I passed this year will be mature and have a great set of antlers and provide a lot of grateful organic meat for the table.
This kind of reminds me of a Facebook post that you had just this past week. Everything you just said. You want to comment on that a little bit?
Yeah, you know, I had somebody message me, and you know, no names be mentioned, but. Nope. They messaged and they asked, you know all this stuff about hunting. You're able to tell people about how to hunt and where to hunt. And, you know, and I've been real fortunate to have people message me some geographical map pictures and be able to help them locate deer on a particular property. Well, anyway, with that all said, you know, yeah, I do got a lot of education on whitetails, and I spend a lot of time in the woods. And, you know, I'll tell you that straight up. I don't know it all. but I do know enough to be pretty deadly in the whitetail woods. But, it boils down to how far mentally, physically, and knowledgeably challenged you want to take yourself. I probably could have shot a 140-inch deer 3 or 4 times this year. I elected to pass. I didn't pass because I'm trophy hunting. I passed because I enjoy being out there. And this message come in that, you know all this stuff and you talk about all this stuff. You're so knowledgeable and educated on the whitetail. How's come you didn't shoot a monster? Well, I didn't shoot a monster because the monster didn't present itself for the proper shot.
Right.
I'm there for ethical kill. I'm not going to take a 60-yard shot. It was presented, but I wasn't comfortable. It wasn't the right scenario for a shot like that.
Right.
So I elected to pass on some long-distance shots, seen some great deer, and I educated myself even further by doing that. I was able to watch that deer, how he come in, how he presented himself to the area. It was one of them areas where I was set up to be able to see out a longer distance than normally on this creek bottom. And I got to watch these mature bucks, how they come in and how they smell and how they take real light. Every step they take was precision. They showed me that, and it's something that I was able to see consecutively. And it showed me and taught me how a mature buck reacts to different things. There was one time that a tree had fell over in front of me, probably about 50 yards.
Yep.
This mature buck come in, and it was the tree had to fall within 2 days of me being in there. This mature buck come in, he acted all funny. I mean, it was like you had taken the woods and turned it upside down over this one particular tree that fell over. Well, a mature buck almost has a photographic memory of the area that he travels. Unless the rut's on and they're traveling different farms and they're just running crazy. But this buck had routinely traveled this route over the last 2 months. And I was set up right on a trail that I knew he traveled. I knew he was there. I knew he was coming through there on a regular basis. This tree got blew over, and this buck come in and acted crazy. And that educated me that the bucks know the area. When you go in and cut a tree down, they're going to know that you cut that tree. They know the area so well that this particular tree fell over. It was like you messed up his whole world when he come down this trail.
Right.
He knew something wasn't right. He knew that there had been some kind of activity there, and he knew the tree was not down before, and it made him turn around and walk the other way.
Interesting.
Just crazy how much more education I got by passing on a buck that normally I would shoot for the meat.
Right.
But I told myself in the beginning of the season that I was going to pass and try to harvest a true mature buck, and it didn't happen. But the experience and the education and the knowledge that I got from going all the way to the end of the season like I did just helped me educate myself for future seasons to come. And that, I got to enjoy the woods and the environment. Anytime you're able to take yourself and put yourself in the wild habitat, it's like putting yourself into their home. And once they get comfortable, the first few weeks of season, squirrels will bark at you. They'll run like crazy when you walk in. But when they get comfortable with you, you walk in and they'll stay on the ground 10 yards away from you. They know you're no harm. They start getting comfortable, and you start realizing that, it's like they're welcome you in.
Right.
It's a really cool experience if you can hunt an area long enough and get that feeling that, when you walk in, the squirrels are not acting all crazy and the turkeys ain't all, running from you. They watch you walk by, and it's a great experience, and that's what it's all about.
It is. It's funny you mentioned that story about a tree falling over. It reminded me of a time that I was hunting this area out in Loudon, Chichester, New Hampshire area. And I had parked my truck. I had a S10, Chevy S10 at the time. Parked my truck, went in as far as I could, walked in the rest of the way, and I started making my way down this slope of a hill that led down to this massive swamp. But it was all those like cattail swamps where you have all this growth in the middle, but it's still all these little areas and mazes of water that kind of scoot all on through there.
Right.
It's like, this feels like prime time whitetail habitat. So I found my way down to the edge of the swamp, and I sat there. I said, something's going to pop out of here. It was getting towards dark, and I sat there. And all of a sudden, I could hear this beaver somewhere out in the middle of the swamp chewing on this tree, and it was a distinct sound. Well, son of a gun, if after an hour this tree doesn't fall over after this beaver has been chewing on it, the tree is probably out 200 yards. and I see this tree start to fall over. I mean, there's nothing going on. There's no wind. There's nothing. And I was like, this beaver's been chewing on this tree, and here it's going to start to tumble. And it falls from left to right, and it lands. Boom! And what happens when the thing lands? A deer pops up right out from where the tree falls, jumps up, gets scared, and takes off the exact opposite direction from me.
That's crazy.
It was unbelievable. Like, you can't write this stuff. You can't make this stuff up. There was a deer sitting there the whole time watching this beaver chew on this tree, and when the tree finally fell, the deer decided to get out of its bed and take off. The only problem is it didn't come towards me and went the other way.
Right, but it really is amazing what how that educates you being there in that moment.
Right.
That deer lets you walk right by it, I'm assuming.
I hadn't even gotten up to the spot. It was probably 100 yards away or so, 150 yards away. But the tree almost fell on the deer. Swear to God.
Wow,
it was crazy. Like, so it sat there listening to this beaver chew, and I got to watch this whole landscape, this whole story unfold, this natural story, to the point where the beaver actually dropped the tree almost on the deer, and the deer didn't move until the tree had just about fallen on its head. But when it did, it got up and got the heck out of there.
That's amazing.
And this happens every day in nature. You know, you just don't even think about it. But this is just, I just happened to observe it that one day. But had I not been a hunter, had I not been outside, I never would have saw that.
Right. You see and learn something new every time you step foot in the woods.
Right.
It's it's one of the greatest experiences that are available, and it's pretty much for free.
It's free.
You know?
And I can imagine that this isn't for everybody, but for those that understand being in nature and love it, there's nothing better.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, and they always, question always pops up: how do you go to the woods like that? How do you do that every day, day in, day out? Now, I don't hunt the same stand day in, day out. I switch it up. I try to keep the pressure away, but I tell them that the experiences. It's one of the things, you can videotape it and you can watch it on TV, but to actually see it with your own eyes and hear it with your own ears, there is nothing in this world that's better than that.
Right. Yeah. There's this 3D real life action thing happening that you can maybe capture on video, but it's not the same. It's not the same as being there.
Right. It's it's a beautiful thing, and God willing, I'll be able to do it again next season.
Yep. Hey, I want to give a shout out to a couple of our pod peeps out there. Mike Adams, the Godfather, Up North Journal. Mike's a great guy. He's I keep calling him the Godfather, and I think he's getting a little agitated, and I'm loving it. I told him that I've been having nightmares of 4-wheeler assassinations and deer heads laying on my pillow. And he's like, pretty funny. Keep it up, Jay. So shout out to Mike Adams. He's a great guy. And also shout out to Carrie Zilka over at the Wild World of CarrieZ. Been talking to those guys a lot, and boy, we just like picking on Mike. Let's face it.
Well, when you do 300 episodes, you air your 300th podcast. That does kind of make you the godfather of podcasting.
Kind of opens you up to, you're almost a target at that point.
Right, yeah, and then he's got Red there as co-host.
Yeah, Danny.
Shout out to Red, too.
Absolutely. Yeah, just good stuff, had an opportunity to talk to Ken Blanchard this week. Do you know who Ken Blanchard is?
I don't.
He's a fantastic podcaster, has one of the best podcasts I've ever listened to called Black Man with a Gun. And, God, it's so good. But I got a chance to just chit-chat with him this week. Good guy, just a really good guy. Just called him up, say, hey, what's going on? So shout out to Ken as well. Speaking of being out in the great wild that we all experience, we get a chance to talk to Spencer Dunn this week, who shot a great Missouri whitetail, a land we have not visited yet on the Big Buck podcast. And I'm pretty excited about going to Missouri this time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a great story, a great buck. And did you know what they call people who live in Missouri?
I didn't until I looked it up. What do they call them?
Missourians.
Man, that's boring. Not like a cheesehead from Wisconsin.
Yeah, right. We've talked to some cheeseheads, and they're great people.
Yeah.
Now we need to get a Missourian on and see what's happening with the whitetail hunting in Missouri.
Yeah. So Spencer Dunn shot a nice Missouri whitetail, and it's kind of an interesting story how he came upon the land that he shot the deer on, and he only needed 30 acres to do it.
Let's get Spencer Dunn on the phone.
Let's do it. Spencer Dunn, welcome to the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Deer Hunting Podcast. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, thank you. And
awesome. You? Hey, thank you for asking. I don't always get that. I'm doing good. It's another beautiful day in the neighborhood, the deer hunting neighborhood that is, and
sure,
we get to talk to you because you shot a really nice deer that you sent into the Big Buck Registry, and I want to know more.
Well,
does that sound good?
That sounds great.
All right. Tell us where you're from.
I was born in Missouri, and I was lived here for a little while. Parents moved to Louisiana for a couple months for General Motors as they worked here in Missouri, and then they moved to Wisconsin where I grew up. And as I got older, parents still worked at GM, and I got an offer for General Motors in Missouri, and I came down there. Parents, they got a little property out way out in the middle of nowhere, about only 30 acres, and first time I stepped foot on there, it was just about a foot wide of just pure deer trail. So I got immediately excited.
So
the first time I ever...
They're in Wisconsin, and you're in Missouri?
Yeah. I grew up in Wisconsin, but I live in Missouri.
Okay, gotcha. And where is the deer land that you're talking about? Is that Missouri or Wisconsin?
That's Missouri. Oh, yeah. That's
Missouri. Okay, all right. So you're from Wisconsin way back. That's where you're from or grew up a little bit?
Yeah, technically I grew up, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm a Wisconsinite, yeah, technically.
Is that what they call you guys from Wisconsin?
Yeah, they call it cheeseheads. Yeah, they call it
cheeseheads.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah,
you're that's a cheesehead out there.
Cheesehead.
Yeah.
You're a cheesehead. All right, so you're a cheesehead from way back, and you moved to Missouri. What do they call people from Missouri?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
I don't either. Dusty, any idea what you call somebody from Missouri?
I don't. I'm thinking lost because Missouri's got a lot of big land.
Gotcha.
Missouri's got lots of land. Yeah.
All right. So there's a spot in Missouri that turns you on. You went down there for work. And your parents are living down there too?
Yeah, they just bought a new house, and they moved to, they bought 30 acres, built a new house, 60 by 60 shop, nice place, and they don't do any hunting, and I'm the big hunter, so I went out there and checked it out, and the first time I ever went hunting out there, I seen, I think it was 15 deer the first day I ever went hunting out there, so I immediately was excited,
Gotcha.
And that was 2 years ago.
So let's back up a sec there. So your parents don't hunt at all?
No.
Interesting. Nope. So tell us how you got into hunting if you didn't have a mom or a dad showing you.
Well, technically it was divorce. So Missouri has my mom and my stepdad. Wisconsin has my dad, my stepmom. And my dad married into a hunting family, and he kind of caught on. And he was a hunter as well, but not as hardcore. And about 15, when he started getting me into it, is when I started getting into it pretty hardcore. We hunted up north in Wisconsin, but it was always that fresh earth scent when he was hunting when I was a kid that I always smelled. That was good.
That's funny.
How old are you now?
I'm 27, just turned 27.
Nice, gotcha. Okay.
So the fresh earth scent is something you kind of recall.
Oh yeah, yep. Love that smell even today.
How does that make you feel when you smell it today?
It reminds me of back when my dad came in with all of his bow hunting stuff, and I didn't know anything about it. I know I opened all of his goodies, and it was the little wafers, scent wafers, that he hung up everywhere, and I was like, man, that smell. I don't know what that is, but it smells good. And now I know it's a
We've often heard that that's like nicotine to a tobacco user. You think there's any truth behind that?
It might be. It's like catnip to men. Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, we're hearing that more and more, that you smell the fresh earth and it automatically addicts you to the smell and the hunt.
Yeah, I love it. I got a whole bunch of stuff like that.
It is interesting. Like even when you're out in the woods, though, like if you, I don't know, if you just do a little stand and you scrape the dirt off around the tree that you're going to stand by, it has that same smell. And you're like, oh, I love that smell.
Yeah. I usually do that to keep the leaves away, so when I'm getting up in my tree stand, I don't make too much noise. I usually smell that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to push everything out of the way when you first get there, so you don't make as much noise. But it always releases that smell, and it brings you right back to hunting.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's pretty close.
It is. Yeah, it smells an amazing scent or sense where it triggers a memory almost better than anything else, as it turns out. Kind of funny.
Right.
So okay, so you made it to Missouri, and 2 years ago you get introduced to this piece of property. Is it your property? Is it somebody else's?
It is technically the parents' property, but which is my property to hunt. They don't do anything but live there, basically. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it is real nice.
Tell us about the topography of the land, the layout. What are we looking at here? Like if you had to describe it to somebody from afar, what would it look like?
Let's say on the main road, you're coming down. It's got it's kind of on a slant hill, and everything up above is all corn or just fields of food. And then it goes down. It's by the Quiver River, I guess, and I don't think it's that river. It's by a river, but it'll stream down. Tons of woods, and the deer eat from up top, and then they come back down to bed or go back and forth in the morning. So there's always a little creek that goes down through there.
So you're kind of like on a river bottom.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. It's basically real close to it. Yeah.
Nice.
So tons of deer.
Gotcha.
Tons of deer. Yeah.
So how did you feel when you first stumbled onto this spot? So your parents buy this piece of land, right?
Yeah, they bought the piece of land, and then they asked me if I wanted to go out there with them to survey the land. I guess put up the purple paint on the trees to make sure hunters don't come across it. I guess. And as we're walking through there, I'm not looking at land. I don't really care. I'm just looking for deer sign, basically. Trails and stuff like that. And I think it was in the summer, but still the trails were huge. I mean, anybody could tell it was a deer trail. So I immediately got excited.
Gotcha. So you've got this, you're like, boy, Mom and Dad did a good thing here.
Great thing. Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, you guys picked a great piece of property. I'm really excited for you.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited for them. I love your house.
I love your house. It has the best decor.
Yeah. In wintertime, I hope you stay inside, keep warm, don't ever come outside, stuff like that. Let me go out there for you.
Yeah. Did you make sure that he built a shop for you? Is that kind of why the shop got built then?
The shop is nice. He actually, my stepdad loves to work with wood. He's real good with wood. But I keep all my hunting stuff out there, so
nice.
It works perfectly.
Gotcha. So go ahead, Dusty.
As you're walking through, tell us how long it took you to realize that this is a prime piece of hunting ground. How long was it that day? The first day. I mean, like I said, a beginner hunter could walk through there and see these trails. They're about a foot wide and tons of deer trails all through there. It was nuts. Is this something that you realized right off the road? I mean, it wasn't very far into the walk that you realized, wow, this is a great piece.
Yeah, it was about 15 minutes. We're walking through, and then we're up on the hill where the main road is at, and we started coming down to make the kind of triangle or rectangle of the property, and I just started coming across trails, and I was like, holy cow, these are nuts. I haven't seen these since up in Wisconsin, deep woods, and they were nuts. I immediately got excited.
It's awesome.
I'm liking that. So this is summertime, and you're having visions of the fall at that very moment, I would expect.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So what was your game plan? Like, what was running through your head at that moment? Where were you laying out?
I don't know. Honestly, game plan was just to hunt it. Had no idea, but I knew every time I came down the little road, I could see the little pond. And every time I came to the property, I always seen deer drinking water out of the little pond. I said, I gotta find a tree right by the pond. That's where I see all the deer, especially when I come in. So put up a tree stand, got about maybe 12 feet up, horrible tree stand, small tree, couldn't get above it. Lots of deer see me, but like I said, the first time I ever walked in there, I usually walk in about an hour and 15 minutes before daylight, and I scared a deer going in. I was about halfway up the tree, and the other deer was blowing at me. Got up the tree and was sitting there for about 10 minutes. Had a deer come about 10 feet from me on a trail, play in the water for about a half an hour. Had about a couple other deer walk in front of me. This is still dark. Couldn't even see anything. And just heard them walking all around. It was crazy. And I had 4 doe come at me and get some water at about 7 in the morning, and I must have been too excited because I missed at about 20 yards, shot under him. I don't know. It was a horrible shot. Nothing in front of me, broadside, too excited.
So this is a doe or a buck that had come into your setup?
This is a doe. This is the first doe I seen in the morning.
Okay.
And there was 4 of them. Huge doe. Too excited, I guess, and scared her. And this is the first time I ever heard a doe or deer blow at me as well. And they ran up the hill a little bit past the trees, and they could still see me. And I kind of stood up like, oh, man, that sucks. And didn't know they could still see me. And sure enough, they're blowing at me.
And you're in your stand this whole time?
Yep. Only about 12 feet up.
What kind of stand are you in? A hang on or a ladder?
The whole time I was hunting in Wisconsin, I was hunting out of a horrible metal stand, a climber, and I saved up enough money and got me a Summit tree stand, and because my dad had one, and I was super jealous because they're extremely quiet and light, and I swear by Summit all day.
Is that a climber then?
Yeah, Summit. Well, they make a couple different ones, but the Summit climber, the Viper SD, is extremely nice.
Gotcha, and that's what you was 12 feet off the ground in.
Yeah, only 12 feet up.
What made you decide to hunt that area in particular?
Just coming down to where the road kind of ended, to where they were going to build their house. Every time I'd pull in the property, you kind of had to come downhill, and you look to your left, and you could see basically half of the pond, and there's always deer right there drinking water, and I always scare them.
And when you say road, this is the main road? This is a dirt road? This is just a road
off
on the
main
property?
road, on a rock road. Yeah, coming down to the property is about probably 50 yards or so down a hill.
Okay.
And they're there about I don't know, probably 80 yards out, just drinking water, and I always scare them up every time I drove down there. I was like, man, that's got to be a good spot.
And this is they're drinking out of a pond, or is this a part of the river?
Small pond, half pond, half runoff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So every time you went down to the property. And what am I looking at in front of me? Is it a wide open field kind of thing that lead then down to the pond, some trees on the edge, or just describe what you're seeing there?
When you pull in, lots of trees to your left, and it kind of opens up, kind of snakes in and opens up, and then it kind of opens up to small pines. And then it opens up, it kind of snakes in to your right, and then snakes back to your left, and all the way down probably about 300 yards or so, toward the pond there.
Gotcha.
So there's some open areas here and there, but nothing like a huge field. And basically when you get down the hill, the parents built the house there, and you can look down toward the pond is where their bedroom's at. So whenever I go to their house, I'm always looking out their bedroom window for deer. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
When you were assessing this property, what were the challenges that you had? Were there any that you kind of stuck out in your head?
Oh yeah. Well, being on kind of the bottom of the hill, a lot of the runoffs kind of started digging into the ground pretty hardcore, maybe 6 to 8 feet deep. In this huge creek that went through the property, and it kind of went in and out of the property line, and that was kind of hard to go up and down through that, and I was curious of how deer would go up and down through that, but after a couple of years of hunting, they seem to go through that no problem. So it just depends on what area they can get up and down better. And in the summertime, you can see that after it rains and stuff like that, a lot of the tracks of where they're sliding up and down, so it's easy to track them through that. Okay.
All right. Any hunting challenges that you could see that would cause you some problems setting up in some areas?
It was all down. It was all kind of slanted hill property. So if I did get in a tree stand, I'd be looking through a lot of other tree brush. It wouldn't be just flat, so all the trees would be basically the same. So I did have a problem with that. I was considering getting a ground blind so I could see down the hill or up the hill, but just that's basically it. Other than that,
gotcha.
other than the creek.
All right. Somebody from Missouri is called a Missourian, by the way, just so you know.
Missourian, yeah.
Pretty basic. Nothing
Misery
cool.
Nothing cool. Not like the cheesehead, yeah.
Right, yeah. Nothing cool like cheesehead. So, all right. So, take us back to the pond. You're in your 12-foot stand. You're in a few doe. It sounds like the sun's coming up.
Sun's up. Yeah, it's been up for about 45 minutes.
Okay.
Tons of tracks by the pond. It's a great spot. Little open area that kind of has a straight track to the pond, and then I'm looking up the hill, kind of toward where I parked at, and I seen these deer come through this little track to the right that went right to the pond, and I don't know, must have been too nervous because I've been hunting about 5 years and never got a deer with a bow. I had plenty of shots and just learn as you go, I guess, but I must have been extremely nervous with a lot of sets of eyes on me.
Gotcha. What kind of bow are you shooting at this time?
I'm shooting a Fred Bear. I can't remember. I think it was an Element. It was an old school one I got back in high school, I'm pretty sure, or right after high school.
Gotcha. What year? What year was high school?
07.
07. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. So it's not super old, but it seems old to you at this point. Gotcha.
It needed to be probably restrung, yeah.
Right. All right, fair enough. All right, so tell us why is this setup important at this point? Is this have you decided that this is a spot you need to continue at, or is it something you tried out and wasn't going to work?
Well, the first time I think I hunted this, the only reason I hunted it is because this is the only place I know there was deer at, that they were constantly going anywhere around the property, and I didn't really scout much of it. It was kind of, by the time they finalized the property, I said, okay, well, I'm going to put up a tree stand here, and then I'll get ready out of the trunk of my car, basically, and do that. And tons of tracks, so I figured this is a good water source for the deer, and possibly the only one. And this is before I pull up topographical maps of the area and found out this is not the only water source. So, okay. But this is probably the only private one.
Gotcha. So this is a spot that you're going to continue to pursue at this point.
Sure.
What time of year is this particular hunt happening?
I think this was I want to say late October, probably mid November, probably right before gun season.
Okay. When you get ready to, what kind of camo do you use?
What's that?
What kind of camouflage? What brand?
Camo, I Gander Mountain all the way. We had Gander Mountain in Wisconsin, and that's all I buy is Guide Series Gander Mountain.
Any particular pattern?
I think Realtree is I think the main one there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Before you head to the woods, do you do anything to prep as far as scent control, shower bars or any kind of soaps?
I used to do the shower and the soap and everything, and I kind of stopped. I kind of faded away from that. I kind of took like a plain shower the day before. But when I get there, I like to do a hell of a lot of scent control. Lots of spray down all the clothes a long time before. Get the boots hardcore. Do the deodorant, and that's basically it. But I spray gloves, hat, everything I can. Hat light, everything.
What particular kind of spray are you using? It's it's a 99% that kills. I can't remember what kind it is. Send away.
Yeah, Scentaway. I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah,
Scentaway 99.9. Gotcha. Yeah, are you using the earth scent?
Oh yeah. I use the earth dryer sheets when I do that, And I usually take like a good handful or so and put it in my tote and put it on the bottom that are halfway green, and it'll make your stuff smell pretty good.
Absolutely. So you're running Realtree camo, and you're using Scent Away 99.9 and the Earth Scent for your scent control. Is there any other steps that you take as far as when you travel with your clothes to and from home to the woods? Do you carry them in a particular container?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got the big like Scent Away tote, I guess it is. I put all my backpack, cover it with leaves on the bottom, and then put all my clothes in there. And I usually take a couple of those dryer sheets that smell like fresh earth, and I'll put a couple of those throughout the tote. And then I got the huge Ziploc baggie, and after I wash my clothes, I'll put a couple of dryer sheets in there as well, and then zip it up, and I'll take that. Awesome, absolutely. Is there any particular boots that you like to wear? Boots, oh yeah, Rocky all the way. That's the only brand I wear. Yeah. Is that just a regular boot, or is it Thinsulate insulation? Tell us a little bit about that. What is it? I think it's a 1,200 gram Thinsulate. Awesome. It's kind of got a camo pattern on it, but it's pretty good boot. Right, absolutely. Doesn't keep you too cold. What's that? Yeah, don't keep you too warm or too cold is about right. Yeah, which is good and bad. Right, yeah, 1,200 grams seems to be pretty comfortable until you get into late season, super cold temperatures. When you get it, let's get into your bow. I want to break your bow down a little bit. You're saying you're shooting an over-style Fred Bear. Tell us a little bit about what arrows. Are you shooting a carbon fiber arrow, I'm assuming? Yeah, oh yeah. Carbon fiber? What kind? It's a carbon fiber with a... I used to shoot Muzzy broadhead, but they seem to shoot pretty good. But until I ran out of them. I started shooting Rage. Rage seems to shoot dead on, but I'm shooting Easton arrows. Easton arrows, and you're tipping it with a Rage broadhead. Do you know which one? Yeah. Yeah, the 3-blade. The 3-blade. I don't know which one. I think it's just a 3-blade. Gotcha. So it's a fixed Rage. Yeah. No, it's mechanical. Oh, really? A 3-blade mechanical? Huh. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'd like to know the name of that. If you think about it, tell us. So we got into your bow setup and your gear setup, and tell us a little bit about how you prepped as far as the area where your tree stand's hanging on this particular property. Did you have to go in and do some trimming and cleaning up of the area before you was able to hunt there? Yeah, I usually like to. When I kind of walked around the area, I seen where all the deer were going from the water hole, basically, and I couldn't. There was nothing really around there to get a good shot, and I kind of looked around and seen this half tree that was, like I said, only about 13, 15 feet up until you hit a really big branch, and I figured I can't cut that off, so I might as well just be able to stick it up about 12 feet, and then I can stand up and be able to shoot, and it should give me some cover from the overhang of the big branch hanging down. And I tried to do that, and that worked out pretty okay. Right, yeah, absolutely. So you got in there and you got all set up. And let's get into the hunt a little bit, Jay.
I agree. I think it's time to get into the details of the hunt of the big buck that you shot.
Okay.
We've kind of established your hunting spot. We've taken a look at where you're hunting, how you came across this property. We kind of got into your gear setup and all that kind of stuff. And it looks like the name of that 3-blade broadhead is the Core, by the way, Kore.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Does that sound right? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so we know what you're using. We know where you're hunting. We know what the layout of the land is. We know you've got deer, where you're hunting. Let's break down the hunt step by step for the big deer. Let's start with a name. Have you named this buck? I haven't. I know a lot of people name deer, but I don't like to, just because I'm going to be looking for him all year, and I know I'm going to be looking for his antlers either way. But sure, I try not to name them. Okay. Now, when you say you have and you have not, that means that somebody has. What name has been given to this buck? This guy was called Monster by a guy at work. Monster. And he says his name's Monster, yeah. So, all right, that's appropriate. I guess. I mean, there's bigger deer out there, but you guys have posted a lot of huge deer that are amazing on your Facebook, and they don't compare mine. So let's get one thing straight. When you release an arrow and you kill a buck, that's a trophy no matter what. Be proud of you, deer. Well,
It's true. Yeah, this is the biggest deer I've ever got in my life. So,
I mean,
that's a mega giant to you. That's a trophy in our eyes. It's all in the eyes of the beholder.
There's always going to be a bigger buck out there, whether there is or isn't, but you're always going to think there is. And the fact that you got one the size you did, I'm just happy that I even shoot a doe. I mean, that's how, I'm just psyched. But I'm psyched you shot a big deer, and I want to break this thing down step by step, and I want to slow it down. I want to hear the full story. And
all right.
Okay, let's start with the day. What day does this all go down?
Well, the first day, let's just say that I seen him was in the summertime. I had a trail cam out over a salt lick. I don't like to put food down because I don't like to track them that way, but the salt lick, does a good job, I'm pretty sure, at keeping their antlers and everything going. I seen a half picture of him. Couldn't see his brow tines because it was behind a tree, but he was a monster. And after that, I got extremely excited, but I only got one picture of him.
No kidding.
The day that I hunted him, yeah.
So you got
only one picture.
You got one trail cam picture.
That's it. In velvet.
In velvet. All right. What time of year was the picture taken?
Couldn't tell you, but I got it on my phone.
Okay. So velvet, probably. What would you say, Dusty? Somewhere in August.
Yeah, just depends on how big the antlers are and everything. There's quite a variance where you could see this buck particularly.
Okay.
The time frame could be different.
August, September, maybe.
For sure.
I think I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
All right. And what? All right. So keep going.
Day was October 6th. Is the day that I'm hunting.
Okay.
That I got him.
All right. What made you decide to hunt this day?
I can't remember what day it is, but what the time was, but I'm pretty sure the weather was extremely cold, and in Missouri it's kind of hard to find really cold days during October for some reason. I don't know why, but early season October is really what I like to get into. But I think it was cold that day. It was cold those couple days.
Unseasonably cold for that 2-day stretch. That's what kind of decided that this is a good day to get out.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
I think I called off work for that and did a 2 or 3 day hunt for that. I'm pretty sure. I think I called off on Friday so I could do a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday hunt.
So you call?
Yeah, that's exactly.
So how do you call into work? Call in sick?
You can call in however you want. We got vacate. Well, it don't matter. We're in the union, which is good, but they give us it's not a vacation day, but if you're sick or you can't come in, they give you a whole bunch of excuses. And I just took a personal day because the weather was good for hunting. So.
Personal day, got it.
Yeah, personal for me.
That's
I need
awesome.
to get some deals.
I need a day for me.
Yeah, well, I got paid for it too, so it's even better. Yeah.
Next time, just tell them you need tree stand therapy. So that's your excuse.
Yeah, that's it. I'll get it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So you're taking a personal day. All right.
That's a classic, a personal day.
It's a great way to start.
That is.
All right. So what happens after that?
Personal day. I've basically been talking to the guys at work about it the whole time. Take my day, go down there, go down to the property. That tree stand is set up in an area, not the same area that I set up. I moved it. I cleared a whole area where the salt lick was at about 2 weeks ago. Or not 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry, like in the summertime, and I moved my tree stand over to this new area where I shot this big buck at about 2 weeks ago before that, and I only got to hunt it about 2 days, and it's got a lot of cover around it. You can only shoot in a couple areas, so I'm kind of looking around for deer because I don't know where they're going to come from, but there's a creek that runs through there, and it's got that creek gravel, and every time I hunt somewhere, I always hear in the morning, real early in the morning, this creek gravel, and these deer are coming down from eating, and they're coming down the hill and running through that creek gravel and going over to their bedding area. And I was like, man, I'm basically straight ahead of this creek gravel, and this is perfect. When they cross through here, I'm gonna do a little map and stop them and get them. So it should be good.
Gotcha.
Lots of sign, lots of trails through there. Had a couple deer through there. The first time I ever put that tree stand there, that I passed up. It was a doe with a yearling fawn with spots on it still. Didn't want to take that just because you want to let the yearling at least learn some stuff. But at the same time, the doe was not big enough to take. I didn't think. I'm looking for meat. I'm a big meat hunter. I don't really care about the deer, but the more meat, the merrier, I guess. And
sure,
she wasn't very big, so I figured I'd let her get big for next year.
How many deer can you take in Missouri?
Oh, that's great. In my area, you can take as many doe as you want in bow season. You can take a buck before gun season and a buck after gun season, a buck during gun season, a doe during gun season, and 2 turkey in bow season. It's great.
Holy smokes, that's a lot. So you just inundated with whitetail.
Yeah, it's great. Well, the conservation area in Missouri is awesome. They have a 4-point system rule, so they have to have 4 points on an antler on at least one side to shoot them. So you pass up a lot of smaller bucks to get to your bigger buck, which I'm sure a lot of people do in Missouri, is a lot of deer, and they pass them up because they're not big enough, which is kind of cool because they'll get to this size, hopefully. So that's
a good system. I like that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, gotcha. So it's cold.
Pretty cold in the morning. In the afternoon it gets a little warm, but that day it didn't get too warm. I hunted in the morning and I didn't see anything, and I always second guessed myself, and I was gonna change my stand and I was gonna move somewhere else, and I was like, you know what? I think I did that last year. And I didn't see anything after I moved it, so I said, "Screw it, let's just hunt there another day, and we'll see what happens." So if I didn't sit there, I probably would have never seen this buck. But I was safe in the creek and just kind of looking around. And it was 5 mile an hour wind. I was using that new hunting app. It was Hunt Stand Light. I don't know if you guys heard of that.
No. I have not.
No, it's an awesome app. It gives you a wind direction, which way the birds are going to be flying, where your stand should be. You can mark all your areas. It gives you the topographical map. It's awesome. It's a great app. I don't remember. I seen it on Facebook somewhere. Downloaded it, and it'll give you everything of where your stand's at, not just in the area or the town that you're at, because I'm kind of way outside of the town, so it doesn't give me the right temperature and everything like that. So
gotcha.
Cool app.
Nice.
So about 5 mile an hour wind, nothing too crazy at all, which is really good.
Yep.
I think it was about an hour, probably an hour and a half or so before dark. So it's starting to get down to dusk, which is good because that's when all the deer come out.
Sure.
And I happened to look to my left, which I wouldn't think any deer would come because everything's green still, and you can't really. There's a hill that starts going back up to your left, and it goes up real high and real fast. So I didn't think any deer would be kind of coming through there, or any that I could see. And I happened to glance over, and anything that catches your eye, and all I seen was this rack, and didn't think anything of it, just a rack and this deer. I got really excited because it's a buck, and so started pulling my my bow basically straight up and down, and I stood up. When I stood up, this branch of this leaves were in my way, and I couldn't see it. So I ducked down, and I could see the deer again. He was just eating broadside, going basically broadside toward me, basically walking in front of me at an angle, in front of me, I guess. And so what I did is I had my tree harness on, and I leaned out, and he didn't hear me or anything. And this is the first time I ever used the illuminated Nox, the Luminox.
Yeah.
Was super excited about that. It was I only bought one. I figured, what the hell, I'm not going to be shooting like a million arrows, so I just put on this one. Really easy to put on. And I leaned out, and the tree harness stopped me, and I was right below the branch. And there's about probably a 3 foot by 3 foot tall and wide tiny little hole in the forest, about 36 yards. And he took about 3 steps, broadside, shoulder sticking right there, and drew back, leaned out and just drilled him. And the Illuminati just immediately turned out like a tracer bullet. It looked awesome. Right. Super excited. Watched this thing stick in him. Didn't know where I hit him to a point because it didn't go all the way in him, but it looked like it was a really good shot. And he took off, ran about 30 yards, and then he started going up the hill. It looked like, and I couldn't see him because I guess there was a lot of stuff in the way. But and I've scared deer before, being a beginner back in the day. I've got down through the tree when I shot a deer and I scared the deer off, couldn't find it. So I'm waiting in there for, I turn my phone on, getting excited, waiting for a half an hour, before I get down. And I got 5 huge doe. I assumed that they walked like on top of him or right by him and walked down the hill and right into the creek bed where I was waiting for deer in the first place, and had another arrow knocked and was about to shoot this deer at about 48 yards. And I do have a brand new bow. I went and bought a brand new Fred Bear, and it shoots like a dream. And I only shot it like, I think it was 3 times sighting in, and it was dead on. So I was super excited. It was more on at 30 yards than it was at 20 yards for some reason. I have no idea, but I shot the deer at 36 yards, and it was spot on. So I was excited.
So you had just shot this other deer, but there was other deer coming into the setup as well?
Yeah. 5 other big doe just came straight in front of me at 40 yards.
No kidding. That's a good day.
That's a good day. Yeah, that's a good day. It's a good day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The second day.
How long did you wait before you went to check out this buck that you shot?
Well, like I've seen on shows, and like my dad told me, you got to wait half an hour minimum. And I figure I put a decent shot on him, and I'm a kid in the candy store. I don't want to wait more than 30 minutes. So pulled my phone out, turned it on, and seen what time it was, and then I tried to wait. I did wait a half an hour before I got down. But while I was sitting there, I had those other five doe come down, and they came down about. I started watching them probably about 20 minutes after I shot him, and they were in place about 5 minutes before it was time for me to get down. So I'm waiting. I was like, well, I could shoot this other doe. I don't care. I really don't want to track 2 deer. It's getting dark. I want to see, I want to see where I got this first deer at. Really excited. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like at the same time I didn't want to scare the deer because they always say don't move or don't scare deer until after dark, type thing. So they don't know where you're at.
You don't want to blow your spot.
Right. Well, I blew my spot.
So you went ahead and climbed. You went ahead and climbed down.
I did. I started putting my stuff away. And it was dark enough, but probably not dark enough for them. And I heard them take off and stop, and I tried to hear where they were running at, just so I could kind of see which direction they'd be at. But they're like I said, I'm kind of in a valley in a little creek area that leads up to a whole bunch of different fields. But this is extremely heavy cover down here, and deer love it. I guess they bed down here, does bed down here, and especially in rut, the bucks come down to the doe where they're at. So it's a good spot.
Right, absolutely. So you climb down, and you're all jacked up at this point. I mean, I know how you're feeling right now. You're all jacked up. Tell us about how amped up you were.
In the candy store, I was shaking. I did a little video of how excited I was, because I wanted to buy the new GoPro, and I didn't. I had my little phone camera, so I did that. Just play for my girlfriend. How excited I was, and I was about right after I did that, I got about 5 feet down from my tree, and I was kept looking back over to where this deer was, and I happened to get far enough down to where I was on the other side of this tree that was out there, and I seen my Luminox sticking up, just extremely bright red. So I was a kid in the candy store. I couldn't get down the tree fast enough. I mean, my bow was on the ground immediately. Backpack was done. I was sliding down this tree. Get down. Jump in the creek.
Like a fire pole, man. I gotta get down.
Oh, yeah, immediately. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I jumped into the creek. It's about a 5-foot jump into the creek, back, down, and up. And jump down it and jump back up it real quick. And I'm walking, I'm trying to find a blood trail where it's at. And I'm like, oh, I don't care. There's my arrow's right there. I'm gonna find the blood. So I kind of just beelined it to his broadhead, to my arrow with the Luminac, and I started walking up, and the belly was facing the other way, but it was just sticking right in it. And I walked up, and I couldn't believe it. It was the big 12-pointer is what I thought, but after looking at it, it was a 14-pointer. It has 1-inch kickers off the brown tines, and I didn't know it had broad tines in general because the trail cam picture was behind a tree and you couldn't see the broad tines at all. So, oh man, it was exciting. So just kept taking pictures every time I got closer, and then kind of videotaped it when I was picking up his antlers for the first time. It was just nuts. I couldn't believe that this monster buck died of about 5.5 inches of my arrow going in it, directly right through the shoulder, and must have hit it right in the right spot because I shot him at 36 yards and he ran 30 yards and stopped, and he just dropped right there. So,
no kidding.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Very nice.
That was it. No track job.
14 points.
14 points.
And looks pretty much like a typical type buck, not atypical, correct?
I took it in. I actually took it into work in the General Motors for the boys because I've talked it up a million times, and there were lots of deer hunters there. And wanted to just, I wanted to show the boys. And I brought it in, and they said they've never seen a more mainframe 12-pointer. Well, technically, he said it's the more mainframe 14-pointer he's ever seen, technically, because of the 1-inch kickers off the broad tines.
Yeah.
And they're not going up; they're sticking kind of out toward his nose, kind of type thing. But it's extremely symmetrical, which I didn't know that it was kind of hard to find. Which I kind of seen this year. There's been a couple 6 or 12-pointers that were mainframes, but he's mine, I guess. So that's what makes him better.
Heck yeah.
But
it's always better when it's yours. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. But to get their hands on from pictures, it was everybody asked me, everybody's asking me what's the score. I had no idea, and or couldn't care. Tell you the truth is just I'm excited to have such a monster buck like this. I've never been about score. It's always been about meat. So there's going to be a deer classic in July in Missouri, and I'm gonna see if I can take him in there and get him professionally scored, and we'll see what happens then.
Awesome. Any predictions on that?
I heard 150 off the bat before I brought him into work. And everybody just laughed at themselves because they're like, this guy is well over 150. He's good 160, I guess, and some say 170. I don't think it's 170, probably 160, maybe 165. But like I said, I've never been about score, so I don't know much. I know you can read about it and measure it yourself.
Right.
But he looks good in the living room, so I don't really care. When I get him measured in July, that's when we'll find out for sure. But
yeah, he's a beautiful symmetrical rack, and every single tine is very, very long. The brow tines are just kind of a little abnormally long, not super long, but long. And the kicker,
I agree.
The kickers are amazing.
Yeah. He's got a lot on his brow tines, kind of around the base, where a lot of deer should have them anyway. But the symmetrical 1-inch kickers off the top, and then he's kind of got off the left side. He's got maybe like a 1/2 inch kicker on the back side of his brow tine, which looks pretty cool. You can't tell looking at him straight on, but has nothing broke off. Maybe like. Nothing. He really didn't have anything broke off.
No, he's beautiful. Beautiful rack.
I was kind of excited because when I seen him, when I picked him up, his whole back neck was just horribly, just all messed up. And I told the guy they're working on, man, dude, can you imagine what he was fighting with to get that on his neck? Just
right.
That's true. And then during gun season, I seen 3 other monster 10 and 8-pointers. So I figured it was them, but it was good to see.
So safe to say you're going to hunt this area again next year.
Oh yeah. I seen the Friday before gun season. I seen 13 turkey at 50 yards, and I seen 10 deer the day before gun season. I rattled up a 10-pointer. I'd say almost the same size as this guy.
Oh my goodness. It's hunter dreamland. That's beautiful.
Hunter's paradise. Yeah, 30 acres. Believe it or not.
30 acres of hunter's paradise. That's insane. Wow.
What do he taste like?
He tastes great. First night I heard a guy did the tenderloins of bacon and threw them on the grill.
Nice.
And I did that, and I've been making a lot of roasts and been doing a lot of stuff in the crock pot with like a Italian shredded meat, I guess, and then you stick it on a hoagie bun with some provolone, stuff like that. It's been quite good. I still got a lot of meat because I don't want to run out for the summertime, so I can have some. So.
Absolutely. It sounds excellent.
Very nice. Dude, that's a great rendition of the play-by-play of this great buck you shot, this great Missourian buck. I love it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, cool, man. I appreciate it. I have a few last parting questions for you, Spencer, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
More on a personal level. Who's more important to you, Captain Morgan or Batman?
Oh, Batman, but Captain Morgan comes right after him. I'm actually getting a half sleeve of Batman on Tuesday, and I drink Captain every night, so.
Very nice.
It goes hand in hand.
All right. Packers or Rams?
Rams all the way. I was born in Missouri.
Gotcha.
But if the Rams move to Los Angeles, I'm becoming a Rams fan. It's in the books. Or a Packer fan. It's in the books. So
cool.
Yeah.
All right. And finally, what is the Hollister Surf and Rescue?
The what is that?
Hollister Surf and Rescue.
I'm assuming that's a shirt that I wore back in the day.
It is.
And I have no idea other than Hollister has extremely soft shirts. That's it, man. That's it.
That's all it is. Just a shirt. That's fantastic, Spencer. It's a great rendition of what happened, and thanks for spending an hour and kind of breaking it down for us. And it sounds like you got yourself one heck of a nice 30-acre spot there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're telling me. I appreciate it. I'll send you guys that picture of the buck in velvet. But I appreciate you guys asking me to do this. I told a lot of guys at work, and they're really excited to hear that you guys were talking to me about the buck. So
yeah, you did a great job. You broke it down, and we're patient with our funny little idiosyncrasies and jokes and that kind of stuff, and you put up with our crap basically. So no, you did a great job. That was awesome.
How'd you get that buck out that night?
Oh God, yeah, I forgot to tell you. Oh man, that was the worst. We have a tractor, but I don't like to ruin the land. So that open snake area, like I told you guys before, it goes down to where I have an opening, but that's about 100 yards from where I shot the deer. And screaming and crying, my back was hurting. It started getting hot out. I had all my clothes on because it was cold, like I said, but it's still warmer, but not moving. It was cold. Dragging that deer down the hill, down into the creek, which is the 5-foot drop, back up the 5-foot drop, and then basically all the way up the hill back toward the house. It was the worst. About 2 steps every 3 minutes. I know a lot of the guys out there are probably thinking, "Oh, what a baby!" But I'm telling you, he when I cleaned him, he looked like a Wisconsin buck in November. He had about an inch of fat or so on his neck, just full. He had a huge neck, like he's in full rut. I had no idea because it was kind of close, but kind of not. But it was probably the worst drag out I've ever had to do, but totally worth it. So
cool,
good stuff.
Yeah, real good stuff. I love hunters with a passion like Spencer gives out. It's just awesome talking to guys like that.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, Jay. That's what makes a great podcast is when you get a great story that comes on your podcast.
It's awesome being outside and enjoying and taking all this in. And you don't have to shoot a big buck to do it, that's for sure. But when you do, and you can look at it in your living room from then on, and you can walk into your house every day and see that thing hanging on the wall. I don't care what kind of day you had at work. When you see that big deer hanging on your wall, no matter if it's a monster to the rest of the world or not, if it's your monster, that means a lot, and it makes you happy immediately.
It's one of the things that just puts a smile on your face no matter how your days went.
I agree. Now, when you walk into your house every day, Dusty, and you look at the Chubby Tines buck, How does that make you feel?
It just puts a feeling over your body that like no other. I mean, there's not a day that I can't walk in the house and look on the wall and say, man, that story pops right back in my head. It is one of the greatest experiences other than my children, and that I've ever had in my life. The day I killed the Chubby Tines buck, it was just it was a great day, and it makes for a great life memory.
Does it not give you chills when you just you look at that? You're like, oh, God, that was so cool.
It was. It does, and it was one of the coolest and best days of my life, really.
Absolutely. Love that. And Spencer was able to portray that and paint that picture for us as he walked us through his hunt. And you could tell that he was feeling that same feeling like we always do when we look at the deer that are hanging on our wall. And granted, the deer that's on my wall is not nearly as big as the deer that's on your wall, but I get the same feeling.
Right. It's not all about the size of the buck. It really is not. It's the experience and the memory that's behind it.
Yes, exactly. Well, thanks to Spencer Dunn for joining us on the Big Buck Podcast and sharing his story as any great Missourian would tell. So that was cool. Do you have a Chubby Tines tip of the week, Dusty?
Yeah, I do. And it's going to boil down to about your buck. No matter how big, how small, how much it weighed, if you shot a buck, it's a trophy in your eyes. Keep that trophy going in your eyes. Don't let somebody bring you down. You see it that professional hunters are shooting great bucks year after year. You can watch them week after week on all the social media networks. Well, there's a difference between the average hunter and a pro hunter. The average hunter doesn't have a ton of acreage. Average hunter doesn't have somebody scouting it, somebody helping them plant food plots. The average hunter just does not have that.
Right.
And you're going to go year after year and not consecutively shoot giant bucks. And that's coming from personal experience. I tried it and failed. 2010, 2011, I went thinking that, I'm going to shoot a buck greater than the one I shot in 2010. And it didn't happen. I was bummed out, got down on myself. What was I doing wrong? But what it was is I let the actual reason why I was out there disappear because I shot this great buck.
Right.
Until I figured out that the reason I was there is to enjoy the outdoors and the whole experience. And I shot a buck in 2012. Then it hit me that experience and the memory and everything that's involved with that particular hunt and that particular buck. That's why you're there.
That's right.
So don't let yourself get caught up in something that's on TV or something that you see on social media, because they're not in the same boat as you are. Keep yourself grounded, and when you shoot a buck, don't post a thing saying, "Oh, it wasn't the greatest buck in the woods." It was your buck, and you shot it, and you enjoyed the moment and the memories and the thrill of the hunt. Keep that going. Don't let somebody bring you down.
Right. Yeah. The size. I mean, old adage, size matters. Size doesn't matter in buck hunting at all. It's fun and it's exciting, and certainly it's representative of a mature buck. But there are also those experiences you might have hunting that might be an experience of a lifetime that ended up in a buck that wasn't the monster in the woods, but it still is important.
Absolutely. So, keep that in your mind. Keep that that tradition and the meaning while you're there versus the size of the buck that you shot. That's something that we're losing and we shouldn't be.
Right. I agree. Let's see. Moving on, Dusty. How can we find you online and offline when we're not talking deer hunting on the Big Buck Deer Hunting Podcast?
You can shoot me an email at dusty@bigbuckregistry.com. You can check me out at Chubby Tines Outdoors. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can check me out there at Chasing Antler.
Beautiful, man.
Jay, how can the people get a hold of you at the Big Buck Registry when you're not online or on a podcast?
All right. Well, we got something new this week, Dusty. We're now have opened up the donation lines. If you like this radio show, we have some bills to pay, and we'd like some help. Point blank, if you have a few extra dollars to spare, we could use some help over here. That's bigbuckregistry.com/donate. All you have to do is go there, push the big green button, and that'll lead you to a PayPal site, and you can donate whatever you feel like, whatever you think is appropriate, whatever you have extra to spare. we'd love it because we do have some cost associated with the show to produce it. And we just like a little help from our audience. And if you love it, hey, throw a little extra our way. That would be great. Other than that, if you'd like to check us out on our website, it's bigbuckregistry.com. Facebook is facebook.com/bigbuckregistry. YouTube is youtube.com/bigbuckregistry. Twitter, we do tweet a little bit. www.bigbuckregistry.com/Twitter. And we are now on Instagram. And I love Instagram, Dusty. Do you dig Instagram? I do.
Yeah, I haven't really took time to learn Instagram real solid.
I'm learning it now, but
yeah, it's something that I'm interested in, and it's something that I'm going to try to figure out a little farther than I have. I'm just really getting kicked off with it.
Yeah, when we bumped into Tim Burnett at the ATA, and he said, "Hey, I'm really digging Instagram," I'm like, "All right, man, I'll check it out." And I did. And I think it's pretty cool. You can't do much. You do little like 15-second videos or photos, but it's kind of neat. It's not quite like Facebook. Like you can't do like links to stuff, but if you just want to share a photo or a 15-second video, it's a place to be. No
right?
question.
Yeah. It's it seems what I can tell from where I've gone with it so far is that the advertisement and all that's not there yet.
Yes,
it's going to come, I'm sure. But right now it's a pretty good page for us being able just to scroll through some pictures and see what's going on.
Yes, it's pretty cool in that sense. It's very, very basic, and that's all we really need. But if you'd like to see us on Instagram, it's bigbuckregistry.com/Instagram. And if you'd like to give us a call, shoot us a text, leave us some feedback, tell us about what you like, don't like about this show, or if there's some guest you'd like us to have on the show, it's 724-613-2825. And please, if you want to listen to us, one of the very best places to go is iTunes, and that's www.bigbuckregistry.com/iTunes. Please subscribe to the show and leave us some feedback so that we know what's going on. Leave us a review, and you can do that if you have any kind of iDevice, an Apple device of any sort. And if you just want to shoot me a regular old email, I know that's kind of old school these days, but it's Jay or Dusty at bigbuckregistry.com. That's it, brother. I think I covered all of it.
Big buck everywhere.
Big buck.
Big buck.
Oh, there's two other things. First and foremost, if you want to share your picture of your big buck, just go to bigbuckregistry.com/mybuck. And if you're in the outdoor industry and you want to get a little happiness on our page, www.bigbuckregistry.com/S4S. Okay, now I'm done.
Maybe not.
What'd I forget?
The Prepper.
Prepper Broadcasting. That is true. We're now found on Prepper Broadcasting, and you can just do PREPPER Broadcasting. Google it, and you'll see us right there, along with a bunch of other survivalist podcasts. So we're on Prepper now. That's cool, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I'm Dusty Phillips.
And I'm Jay Scott.
This is a Big Buck Registry Deer Hunting Podcast. We'll see you next week.
Can't wait.